Hey guys, it's Dennis here with Revog Games. I'm joined by
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa.
Yes, and today we are talking about something big, big news. It came out last Friday, a report that PlayStation will be gearing up to make their Xbox Game Pass rival, competitor, whatever you call it. We all know that PlayStation already has PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus, and I've mentioned many times on our weekly podcast how confusing their naming convention is, and what is what, and so they're planning on making a much more bigger effort to attract this the streaming audience and having a subscription base and having like some bigger titles on their service. And supposedly they're going to fold it under the PlayStation Plus name and not the Now. They're going to get rid of the Now, and they're going to have like a three-tiered system depending on how much you pay, whether or not what games you're going to get, and access to cloud streaming and all that good stuff. So I'll just start off real quickly. I was very excited when I heard this news because I was like, okay, cool. PlayStation gets it. They're gonna stay in the game, because really in my mind was like, okay, yes, in this generation they can still survive. PS5 is still outselling Xbox, but in the long term they're not going to be able to beat Xbox Game Pass. And so I was like, okay, Sony's got this. It's a competitor. But I'll be honest with you, the more I'm reading about it, the less excited I am about it, because one, we have that tiered system, which is already going to be kind of confused. I mean, Microsoft has it too with Game Pass, so maybe that's just a not that big a concern. My biggest concern is that at least the report says they're not looking to have day one exclusives on the service, which is kind of like the big selling point for Xbox
Of
Game
Game
Pass.
Pass. Yeah.
And they said they're gonna have bigger titles and maybe a shorter amount of time, like in terms of 6 months. Maybe it's gonna. I'm just speculating the time amount, but maybe 6 months later they'll have the big title. Like, let's say God of War Ragnarok. 6 months later it'll be on whatever on PS Plus. What are your thoughts when you first heard it, and is it tempered now because of this additional news?
I will. Well, look, it makes sense. We were waiting to see what they were going to do. What was
Mm-hmm.
their response going to be to Game Pass? And in the back of my head, I think one of the main reasons they're doing this is to just kind of remind people that PlayStation Now exists. Because they don't have any marketing for it. Like, it's actually low key a pretty good service. Like, it has a huge library. Back when I used to use PlayStation Now, I really enjoyed this service, and that was when I was paying $20 for it, which is way overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
And I was enjoying it for what it was. I was streaming games. This was like 4 years ago. I was streaming games that felt brand new to me. The experience is good. So I think in the back of their mind, it's also like a serious rebranding of that. Making it putting it all under the PS Plus name is smart, like you said, because there's so much different things. Now there's less confusion. You get PS Plus, and it's gonna be the first tier just is PS Plus. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Your second tier is gonna give you access to a bunch of games, a whole catalog of games. Your third tier, it gives you access to streaming games,
Mm-hmm.
as well as like classic PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games. And they said, I don't know, they did say possibly like early access demos or stuff. I don't know. They're not. I'm not too sure about that one itself though. But that makes sense. The tier thing is iffy. It's off-putting. I think a lot of people are going to be off-put by like the whole tier thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to see their prices. If I think I can live with this tier system if their prices is competitive and fair, because they tier 3 has to be the same price as Game Pass Ultimate, I think. If the third tier isn't the
Uh-huh.
same price as Game Pass Ultimate, then I don't think that
I,
this is going to
I
work
don't know.
that well.
I feel like it's going to be 10, 15, 20. That's just my feeling about it. I feel like it's going to be 10.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing right here, but I have a feeling they're going to go 9.99, 14.99, and 19.99 or
Uh,
something like that.
yeah, I hope they do 5, 10, 15. That's probably having high hopes and expectations.
Yeah.
Like, but well, then again, the thing is they can't do tier 1 for $5 because
Yes.
you're getting two with PS Plus. You get two big free games a month. You know what I mean? Well, usually we're not talking.
Yeah.
This month has there's been a bit of backlash for this month's PS Plus games, but usually you get two pretty good games or three games out of it, depending on like what system you have. So yeah, the price point, that's the biggest thing that worries me, man. If tier 3 is $20, like I said, I paid for that
Mm-hmm.
price and I enjoyed it, but that's back when there was literally no well, I think there was one alternative, but there wasn't nobody else was doing the whole cloud gaming thing like 4 years ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So for me the $20 price was like, it was so cool at the time. Definitely not worth it now. You know what I mean? Um I don't yeah. There's nothing immediately that makes me jump out and like want to get back into this
My
because
biggest. Go ahead.
I played most of their catalog 4 years ago on PlayStation
Yeah.
Now. That's my issue with it. I think I do see potential in it for a lot of people, mainly to play older games like your PS3 games, your PS4
Uh-huh.
games. There's a lot of fun there. Like I went I went back to PlayStation Now like it was like 2 years ago just to be able to play the entire Ratchet and Clank catalog
Mm-hmm.
because there's no other way for you to be able to play it, you know? They have a lot of games on there. It's literally no other way to play it except through possibly PlayStation Now.
Okay,
I
because my
Yeah,
my
they got to
thing
do a
is,
lot of work on this, man. That's for sure.
yeah. So my thing is, okay, tiered system. Xbox does have one as well, but that is mainly yeah, access to what it's a
It's
PC,
basically just two tiers,
Xbox, and both. Yeah,
and then like
because the
third
ultimate is
tier, I
really
guess.
just a combination of the first two plus you get EA
Yeah,
access. Um, so the tiered thing is a little iffy, but not like a deal breaker. Now, to me, the day one exclusive stuff not being there, it might be a deal breaker for me. That's why I got super
yeah,
excited on Friday when I heard this news. I said, "All right, Sony's back in the game." They've got, as of right now, they do have the most and more sought out first party exclusives.
well,
Than
maybe like Last of Us Part Two, like that could get a couple people enticed, you know. But
Yeah, but we're talking about
yeah,
the thing is people want to play the newest. Like I want to be able to be subscribed to whatever the new PS Plus is now, and get to play Ghost of Tsushima 2 on day one when it comes out, instead of waiting 6 months later. Because to
yeah.
me, that kind
Well,
of
Dennis, the other
dulls my
issue, like
excitement.
the biggest issue for me really is that it's just on PlayStation, you know. Like, well, which doesn't make sense to me because I know PlayStation Now worked through Edge browser, so
Hmm.
surely they must be planning on bringing it to PC, like at least the cloud gaming aspect of it. Like they'd be dumb not to, you know. So if it's not on PC, that's also them losing so much money, you know, from the like it should be on PC for cloud gaming.
Yeah,
Um,
and I would think so, just because think about it this way, you're not remember the consoles aren't making them money. It's the the
yeah,
games and the licensing and whatever. So if you have them on PC as well, I don't think that you know, hurts them, because you're still getting money.
yeah.
And that's my
I do think that they're gonna go to mobile as well, like 100%.
mhm.
Hopefully they can be competitive and try to match the xCloud gaming on
Mhm.
mobile. Um, I think it's interesting. They actually did a a survey, and the people who are using xCloud said that they prefer using on-screen controls rather than
Mhm.
external controls. Which the reason I bring that up is interesting is because Sony is releasing a controller for mobile that you attach onto the sides of a mobile phone. And I feel like that's them thinking ahead for when they are getting their games on mobile, you know? So it's definitely going to come to mobile. I mean, even though in all the articles we've read they haven't mentioned it in PC, it'll
Mhm.
probably be day one it'll be on PC. Like 100% it has to be. If
Mhm.
it isn't, then that's like a huge loss for them, you know?
Yeah, and
Especially if PlayStation Now did work on PC or did work through your browser, you know?
now I don't have PlayStation now. I have PlayStation Plus, which is more like Xbox Live Gold, which you know you, you
Well,
get.
that one you need.
Yeah,
You basically need it if you want to play online games. So
yeah.
yeah.
So my question is this: how big is the current library, and how often do they have games decent sized games. I mean that's the thing about Xbox and
Last time I checked, it wasn't like a thing where it's like every week they add new games. It'd be like every couple of months they'd add like a bunch of games. Like
mhm.
it comes in like in hordes. Um,
See, I think it's smarter what Microsoft and Xbox are doing with Game Pass is they're following the Netflix model, which is they have
it's
enough
about 700
con
games.
yeah. Which is a
So
lot.
it's
Don't
about
get me
it's a
wrong.
lot of games. It's definitely I think it's definitely more than Game Pass.
But
Like they've got way more games than Game Pass, but it's a lot of old games is the
mhm.
issue as well. Not
Yeah,
a lot of new stuff.
because like okay, with Xbox Game Pass, they're making it so that they're when it's a launch of a new title. For example, Back for Blood, right? Back for Blood is not a first party game; it's a third party game.
Yeah.
It's a big game. I downloaded it on day one, started playing, had a blast with it. You're getting kind of you're. I guess this is what I'm saying. You're getting that advertisement for the actual game, and you're also mixing it in with Game Pass, and it's almost like it's advertising it for Game Pass. If you get my drift, it's like they don't even have to advertise like, hey, we got this on. The problem when you don't do day one, well, there's two problems. One, players or gamers don't want to pay for or don't. I won't say won't, but are less likely to pay for a subscription that way. And then two, then when you do get the game, you've got to re-advertise that the game is coming, right? Let's say God of War Ragnarok comes out. I forgot the date. What's the date again that's coming out? Do they have a date, or is that Forbidden West that has the date?
Forbidden West has a date, which is the 17th of February.
Okay, February 17th. So we know it's coming. Comes out. It's a big success. Everyone loves it. And then it's going to come out, let's say 6 months later on the new PS Plus subscription platform. Well, now you got to re-advertise to everyone that is now coming out for the PS Now service or PS Plus service. And so it's kind of like you have to like get that hype machine rolling again. You know, do you know what I'm saying? It's don't get me wrong, it's still great that it would be coming to the service. It's just you're missing some of that hype that you're initially getting from a day one.
Yeah. Sorry to correct me though. It seems like the library is more than 800 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. I was looking at it. They do add new games, and it's weird because I do see this moving forward where the way they can get success is through licensing rights and like the fight for licensing rights.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've noticed that there's a lot of stuff on Game Pass, and for the past couple months I've noticed it's like why do they like Final Fantasy? It's like why do they have this Final Fantasy and they don't have this Final Fantasy?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have this game but they don't have that game? That's like in the same franchise. And I'm looking at PlayStation Now, the service, the streaming service, and there's my answer. All the game like they've got Final Fantasy games, they've got games that I was expecting to be on Game Pass but aren't, you know what I mean?
Which I think is great for people who like to go back and play old libraries of games they've either already played or they missed out on before. But I would say the majority of people are probably more like me who are looking for new games that I haven't played before. Like, as much as I love Halo, leading up to Halo Infinite, I had no time to go back. I know some people did, where they went back and played the whole Master Chief collection, played Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, Reach, 4, 5. I don't have that time. So what did I play?
The newest thing they added, sorry to interrupt, the newest thing they added was the GTA collection, like the remastered, which is not a selling point, you know what I mean? Other than that, all the recent games they added are all like pretty old games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which this new service is supposed to fix, right? This new approach. So it's less about like it being a new service is more like they're gonna rebrand and reforge the service so it becomes more Game Pass like.
And hopefully market it because they never marketed it before.
Yeah, because like I said, because I'm not a PS Now subscriber, I don't know how it is, but like I never hear about these big games coming out on PS Now, like where with Game Pass, it's like I know, okay, Back for Blood is coming out. Okay, Horizon, Forza Horizon is coming out. Cool. Obviously
I mean,
Halo
just
Infinite.
like what was it, the previous Microsoft showcase we covered feels like probably a couple of months ago,
Mhm.
where every single trailer they dropped, almost every single one was going to be day one on Game Pass. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was just like a Game Pass freaking trailer the entire showcase.
Yeah. Um,
So no, they need to market it. I do think in the future they will, because here's the issue that I can see them having is they want to have Ragnarok day one on there. They want to have Horizon on their day one. The issue is they know that there's not going to be enough subscribers. Like I'm sure that they've realized even if they market the crap out of this thing, I mean, a lot of people will get it, because they're like, hey, I already have PS Plus. Why not upgrade to the second tier to get all this? You know what I mean? People are
I,
gonna look
I,
at it that way. So they're gonna
yes.
get people, but not enough
Okay.
to be able to like cover the production costs of the two bigger games coming out soon.
Yeah. Okay, so I get that, and I understand. So that's kind of where their bread and butter is, right? That's where they make all their money from
Mm.
their first-party exclusives. Uh,
It will be on there eventually,
sold
like you said,
sold
like
day
6 months
one.
later. But yeah,
People, buying them, on day one, so they're paying the 60 $70. But the thing is, at some point you have to bite the bullet. You have to tear off that
mm.
band-aid, right? You have to lose
You got to lose
the
money, and that's
money.
what Game Pass did. Game
It
Pass lost
did,
money
because
before
I
they made money.
remember when I went to what year was it? Was it 2018 or 2017? I'm trying to remember correctly. I went to E3 that year, and I went to the Xbox showcase, and there was a big banner with the latest Gears of War coming out. And on it, I noticed there was a Game Pass logo on it, right? And this was like, they hadn't done that. And I was like, does this mean that it's going to be on Game Pass day one? Or does that mean it's going to come out,
And it
on.
was.
And it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, you
That was big. I remember that the new Gears of War, that was like a big thing. That's the first time I had heard about Game Pass
Yeah.
when everyone was like, you can play Gears of War day one on Game Pass. And
So I
then the
bet
second time it caught my eye was with the Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
That was the second time it caught my eye.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, I bet you they lost money not selling it day one, separately. But the whole thing was taking that loss to get people onto the service, and then look at the service now. And that's the whole thing with Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon, all these games, even doing, I bet you, licensing Back for Blood, they're probably, spending a lot of money on this stuff, but it's all in service of trying to get people hooked onto their service and subscriber.
And to stay.
Yes.
Like here's the thing with Game Pass. Most people, and I've managed to convince quite a lot of friends, and it's so funny because it took a lot of convincing to convince some of my friends to join Game Pass, and then as soon as they got it, they were like, well, why did, like, they felt dumb for not having done it sooner, you know what I mean? Especially when you're getting like the $1 for 3 months deal.
Yeah.
I didn't have to convince most of them to stay. They got Game Pass just to play a certain game that they wanted on launch. They played that, and then they saw all the other games that they could play, enjoyed some of that, and then they kept going. You know what I mean? Like, they just kept their subscription going because they're like, yeah, that's a good price. I enjoy this. Everyone I know that's done PlayStation Now gets it for 1 month, plays the game they want, and then never does it again. Or like, especially old games, because you can finish old games in like a day or two. They weren't like 60-hour games. That's an issue. So you can go. I went through all those like Ratchet and Clank games, and there was a lot of them in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I still had a week left of my subscription service, and I didn't even use it. I didn't know what to use it for.
Yeah. So, you know what? I think it's a good idea for Sony to do what they're doing. I do hope in the back of their minds, maybe they don't want to say it now, maybe they won't do it right away. But I hope in the back of their minds, they're like, at some point, we have to pull the trigger, pull that lever, and rip off the Band-Aid and put those day one exclusives. Look, if they don't want to do it right away, that's fine. They get as many subscriptions as they can. maybe they put on their first party exclusives 3-6 months later, and they get built up that subscription base, but eventually they need to put those day one exclusives because they will not be able to compete otherwise. You know?
They need to make a deal with Square Enix because I know that they have close ties to Square Enix, but they need to make a deal with Square Enix to exclusively get all their games and content onto there, because they're, like I said, right now the Final Fantasy franchise is kind of split between the two.
Yeah.
So if they can at least acquire like Square and all their games, you know what I mean? Like that would be a good thing to do. Not necessarily acquire the studio, but make a deal. You know what I mean? They got to do something because moving forward, yeah, I can see me wanting to use this service in a year and a half from now when Horizon's on there, you know, or when God of War is on there. Then I can see me wanting to use this service. But
okay, so like
yeah.
my thing is, look, I don't own an Xbox Series X. I don't own a PlayStation 5. I'll be honest with you, and I know the gaming community would be like screaming and yelling at me for saying this because they would be the opposite. If I had the opportunity to buy either one right now, I'm not gonna buy either one right now.
I would rather get a new graphics card, Dennis. 100%. Just like we've got the 2060 for the same price. Just get yourself the 3060 upgrade. You know.
Yeah. So like, you know, I know they're hard to find. They're out of stock. You know, it's hard to get. People are coveting it. I'm sorry. I'm just not gonna buy either one. Now that doesn't mean I wouldn't buy either one in the future. I'm just saying right now I don't see the point. But my thinking was, oh crap. This Sony PlayStation Plus service is going to be like Xbox Game Pass. I have my PC, so I'm good on all the exclusives for Xbox/PC. Maybe I hold off on buying Xbox Series X and I only buy a PS5, and then I subscribe to PS Plus, and I can start playing these first-party exclusives on day one, and then I'm set. And then when I heard that they weren't planning. None of this stuff's official, but according to the reports, they're not planning on doing the day one stuff. That kind of tempers my excitement. And also just be like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy a PS5.
That could still boost their console sales. I guess that's what they're thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, it's going to be on PC, the same as Game Pass is on PC. I don't think they're going to care too much about. No, it will, because PlayStation Now is on. I just looked it up now. It will, but the issue is...
Yeah, but just the streaming, though. It's not the downloading the whole game.
Exactly. That's the issue. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's just the streaming. And because of that, I don't think a lot of people are going to... Well, I mean, depends where you're living and what your internet is like, but a lot of countries don't have the internet capabilities for streaming, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it'd be great. You could definitely try it out. I think you'd have a lot of fun. But yeah... I don't think they're going to focus on that or really care about that, which is also worrying. But yeah,
I wonder if this the question is. Let me ask you this: is it too little, too late for Sony from what's going on?
I think so. I think here's like it's not that it's too little, too late. It's just that they're starting the race pretty behind. They're in the race, but they're pretty behind. They got to do. It's just if I was a bookie and we were taking bets, let's just say their odds aren't looking good, Dennis. You know, like they got some odds. They got some horses out there racing, but they gotta do something because currently even them announcing this, we're talking about it. We're like, oh, that's cool, but there's not a single game we can think about talking about tied to it. You know what I mean? Not a single game is coming to our mind of like, oh, you can play. I mean, besides The Last of Us Part 2. But like besides that, you know what I mean?
The problem is I've played most of the big PlayStation exclusive games. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the new big ones. And then if they are going to get some third-party ones, they have to be third-party ones that Xbox doesn't have as well, right? So, like, for example, if PS Plus gets Back 4 Blood, that's great for people who only have PlayStations, but for me, it's no big deal. I've already played it on the Xbox Game Pass on PC. Like, doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
What I need is exclusive third-party stuff that I can't play on Game Pass for PC, and also these I mean, let's. The thing is, the reason why the PS5 and PlayStation in general has been outselling the Xbox is because of their first party exclusives. That means Last of Us Part 2 or
Oh my
Last of Us
God.
franchise,
I
Uncharted,
just had a light bulb.
what, God of
Dennis, do you
War?
think,
What's up?
sorry to interrupt, but do you think they rushed this announcement because of the recent scandal? You know what I mean? Trying to quickly bring out some good news. For those of you who don't know, PlayStation had to let go one of their guys for inviting a 15-year-old child over to his home for horrible things. But like this is really recent, right afterwards. Do you think maybe they like rushed this
I
announcement
doubt it.
in
I
in
don't
order to
think
like
so. I don't
in
think
order to like
so.
not really push that under the rug, but like maybe move away from the bad PR of that? I just dawned on me. Like I don't think it is that, but
I
it
don't think
does line up
so.
pretty
One,
well.
I mean, let's be fair.
It
I
would
mean,
it
right
would have been
now,
stronger for them to announce this with a game, though. You know what I mean?
well, the thing
Like,
is,
and now,
it's not
yeah,
officially announced. This is, a report. It's like a pretty solid report, but it's not announced. So I don't think if they really were that nefarious to do that, then it would be
yeah,
probably a full thing. I think this is just something someone found out. I mean, I think they're when you talk about late to the party, is that they're just getting killed by Game Pass right now
yeah.
in terms of maybe not so much
Here's
numbers, but
another way Game Pass has them beat is PC games. Game Pass has PC games.
yes.
PlayStation will never have PC games. Game Pass has
Well,
like
they
games that
will
are
have
just for PC.
I think they will have the PC games available for their service. It's the problem is they're only churning them a year, 2 years after, right?
Yeah, but
Like
it's also, do you stream it? Because from what I can tell, the PC application is streaming only.
maybe, I don't know.
So then it's
Or
like if you're playing a PC game, you wouldn't want to stream a PC game on PC. You know what I mean? At least it would seem kind of redundant to me. So
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean
see them dipping into the PC realm ever.
I thought they would at least open it up to be like, okay, at least you got this small library of PlayStation PC games, right? Like God of War is coming out, coming out soon for PC. You just had her, not just, but a couple years ago, Horizon. Um, now I'm so used to the sequel's name that I forget Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Is
Horizon
that
Zero
the
Dawn.
Horizon Forbidden
Yeah.
West? Okay. You have that. You have I think
Which
Days
is on
Gone.
which is on PS Now, I should
Yeah,
mention as
yeah,
well.
Days Gone, whatever. So they have a small library that they're trying to build. Remember, they
Yeah.
bought that one company that was doing a lot
That
of
is
their PC
actually, you got a
ports.
very good point, yeah. And Days Gone did quite well on PC.
Yeah,
I think it did better on PC than it did on console. Like
yeah,
people enjoyed it a lot more on PC than on console.
yeah,
It had good reviews from what I could tell.
yeah. Like I said, we've been mentioning this before. Is the future is probably cloud streaming, and
Well, it's also
so
all subscription based, the entire
yes,
world, you know.
subscription
PlayStation
and
Plus Plus,
yeah.
Amazon Plus,
I think
Walmart Plus,
I think
Game, Best Buy Plus. It's all going to be a plus service, man.
Yeah, I think by the next generation, like, I still think there'll be like devices, but the devices won't be like these big
Mm.
computation device. You know what I mean?
It'll be streaming, yeah.
It'll be like a streaming stick, right? Just like you get Google Chromecast or
Well,
whatever.
yeah. And even
So
way off in the well, not even way off in the future because it's not Starlink's not that far away. But once Starlink is out, that means people in rural areas can have fast internet.
mhm.
People who live in like the countryside, they can have internet they can stream with.
Yeah. So look,
They need games, Dennis. They need
yeah,
games.
they have the
Big
games.
games.
That's my point. My point is they have the games. They have actually the
They
more
need new
sought out
games.
games.
Yeah.
The reason why PlayStation wins is they have the games. They have the God of Wars. They have the Last of Us. They have the Uncharted. They have the Ghost of Tsushima. They have those games.
Look,
It's
I don't
whether
know
or
if
not they
Miles
want to
Morales,
use those. Yeah, I
if
totally forgot Spider-Man. They have
if that
Spider-Man.
is
They have.
on if that's on their service, that's a seller for me.
Mhm,
I would literally I would 100% get their tier 3 service
mhm.
for my PC if I can play the Miles Morales game.
It's through streaming.
Or even like the previous one through streaming, and
Mhm,
it's not like going to be the worst. If I can still
mhm.
like, get somewhere near 60. Well, I guess 60 frames would be pushing it, but 30 frames you know,
Mm-hmm.
30 to 60, that would be nice for streaming, you know?
Yeah.
That would make me get the service. I would get it. But then again, the issue is it's you can finish that game in like a week or two, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And then what's there really there keeping you still playing?
I mean, I believe from this article they are going to have, their heavy hitters, at least their past heavy hitters in this service. So I'm expecting on whenever they rebrand this thing on day one, they will at least have Last of Us 1, Last of Us 2, the entire Uncharted series, Ghost of
Yeah,
Tsushima,
they already have all of that.
Spider-Man. They have all of those. Ghost of
They
Tsushima's on there as well.
they don't have Ghost of Tsushima, but they have all the Uncharted's, all the Last of Us.
Spider-Man,
Um,
all the
that's what I'm saying. I don't know about
Miles.
Spider-Man. They had all the
Yeah,
previous Spider-Mans though, I think.
yeah,
Like all the like the Amazing Spider-Man. Their library is huge, Dennis. Like I said, it is huge.
mm-hmm.
There's just nothing in particular. Like they need new things to catch people's attention.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy the nostalgia trip, but I don't see them being active members. Like I see people coming back every now and then for a month or so, you know? Like that's how I would treat it. I would like pay for tier 3 for 1 month and
Mm-hmm.
then get my fix and then like maybe a couple months later do tier 3 again. I wouldn't keep, especially like because we don't know the price point yet. And if your speculation is right, which it might be, which is that maybe it's going to be $20 or something, then yeah, I just don't see people like doing that subscription like ongoing for more than like 2 or 3 months at a time without
Yeah.
canceling it
Well,
and like resetting
yeah.
it up later on.
What I'm hoping is that the plan is to start off this way, and then once they build up more, then move to the day one exclusives. Then you've got something going. To me.
They could drop a whole like new library, which could I think that could be good for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they do the official announcement for this or the day it drops, they choose to add all their PlayStation hits.
Yeah.
Once a game sells a certain amount of copies, it gets marked down to $20 because it becomes a PlayStation hit. Um, was it 20 or $30? Anyways, it gets marked down. Yeah, it's $20. If they add all of those, I think they have most of them, but not all of them. If they add all of those, that would be pretty cool, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Sony has its hand in a lot of Japanese development games as well, which I think would be smart for them to reach out to that. Like the Persona series is a great example. If they can get the Persona series on there, and Persona 5 is a PlayStation hit. Like it sold a certain amount of copies. It's now a $20 game. I mean, they came out with Persona 5 Royale afterwards, which is like an expansion, and they added so much story. So much, it's almost like a whole new game. Well, not a whole new game. It's just a whole bigger game. Um, they do have options. Like I said, they got horses on the track. They're running. It's just they really
They gotta get their best horses. You know,
they got to get their best horses out there. Yeah,
Yes.
they got to figure that out. You know, and they got to make some deals. That's
Yeah.
that's the one thing they got
I
to
don't
do.
know.
They got to make some deals.
Yes.
Either that, or like you said, they got to make a loss.
Yeah.
Like bring those
like-
big games day one and take the loss.
Look, I'm still excited. I'm just not as excited as when I first heard it. Once I heard that, oh no, we're not doing day one. I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to. I'll wait and I'll wait
even
and see.
then, like just based off the announcement, my first reaction is, what would I want to play? You know,
Well, the new stuff. I mean, that's
like
the thing.
nothing really jumped to my mind. Like,
No, but that's
there
the
isn't.
thing.
That's the issue.
The reason I got excited at first was like, oh, great! I'm gonna go play God of War Ragnarok on day one. I'm gonna play Ghost of Tsushima 2 on day one. I'm gonna play Horizon Forbidden West on day one. I'll play whatever the next Uncharted or Last
I do
of
believe
Us.
God of War is on there, which
Spider-Man.
is good. You know, like the previous God of War
Yeah.
is on there.
But I've played it. I bought a
Hmm.
PS4 specifically so I could play God of War, Last of Us. You know what I mean? So and Ghost of Tsushima was not out or even announced. I think when I bought my PS4, and it was a great surprise. And now it's one of my favorite franchises. You know, hopefully
Well, that's another thing that Microsoft has is most of its biggest games are multiplayer games. Like the games that are always like the top played on there. I mean, their flagship game for the longest time was Sea of Thieves, which is that is a multiplayer experience game. Yes, you can play it alone, but you're going to be playing that game multiplayer. You know what I mean? Which means you're going to be coming back. It's always different, you know? There's no story, I mean, well, now they add like now there's the pirate's life story, the Captain Jack Sparrow thing.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, there was no story. It's just you're just going around heisting. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's new. Same Halo Infinite. You know what I mean? The multiplayer, no story. People are gonna keep coming back to it. There's Rogue Company. There's so many multiplayer games that are thriving on Game Pass, and that's the issue. There's like Sony mainly has like story-based narrative games, which I love. I love those types of games. But the issue with those games is like once you've played them, and most people when they play them, they play them properly, like the whole way through, completing most of the side quests as
Mm-hmm.
well. And then once you've done that, you don't really want to play the game again for like years, you know, until you
Mm-hmm.
have the itch to maybe play it again.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to make some like deals with like some companies like games that have longevity. That's what they need. They need games with longevity on their service.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. Like I said, overall, was super excited. Became less excited. Now I'm like a little skeptically optimistic, if that's the right
Yeah,
paradox of words. Like I'm like, oh, I want it to be good. Maybe it'll get good later. Yeah. So.
yeah. I mean, that really is the best takeaway. Well, like, I mean, not the best, but that is the takeaway. Really, maybe it'll be good. That's all we can really say. Maybe it'll be good. Currently, it seems very average, and I don't. Look, if you can afford both, that's the nice thing. That's really here. If you can afford both, why not? You know,
Mhm.
some people can't afford both. Some people they're gonna get they're gonna get sales nonetheless. Like I said, I just hope that they get to the point where they can do things day one. But in order
Mhm.
to get that, it seems like instead of them taking the loss, they're gonna rather wait till they have enough subscribers, which is gonna be a grind. They have to really grind that. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
need. Here's another thing. They need to compete with Game Pass's price point. Like I know we said that in the beginning, but
Mhm.
even like Game Pass doing, you can have the first 3 months for $1.
Yeah.
That so many, and the thing is, everyone is like, why not? It's just $1. Why not try it out? And then you have it for 3 months, and then in that 3 months, you're like, oh my God, this is a great service. I want to keep using it. You know what I mean? And then people stay. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully, Sony can like look at that and try to come up with something similar because they got to figure out once they've got people on their service, which they're gonna have, they need to figure out a way to keep them to
Yes.
get them to
It like I
stay.
said, it's a
That's the
It's
biggest
a
issue.
Netflix model. And Netflix comes out with new titles, movies, documentaries, reality shows, dramas, comedies every single week. Um, they aren't all 100% great. Some of them are crap, but they just churning out so much content that you, and then for every different type of viewer for Netflix, there's always something for somebody, right? And so if you have something new every single week, or at least maybe if you're really picky, you only like one thing they do every month, that still might be worth it for you. And that's the
Yeah.
same with these gaming subscription services. I think the biggest point is, okay, I've been a Game Pass subscriber for, I think, what is it, like a
I know. I'm pretty
year
sure
and
I'm pretty sure we both had it for more than a year, maybe a year and a
yeah, but
half.
I think you were longer than me. A year, a little over a year for me. Guess what? I
Yeah.
barely played anything. Even though I was paying the money for it, I wasn't playing that much stuff when I first got it. And now I'm playing this crap all the time. I'm playing like tons of different games from them.
And
Um,
you're checking it every day to see what's
and
added,
and
what's been
and I'm
removed.
not
It like it keeps you coming back.
yes, and I'm not paying any more. I'm paying the same amount I was paying before, but now I'm much more hooked on the service because they have this continuous. Like this whole past 2 months have been huge for game. I think that's why Sony did decide, like, reluctantly. They don't want to go to this model. They want to go. They want to keep
Mm.
the, you buy your game for 60, $70, and then on day one, and then that's it. They don't want to go to the subscription model. They make more money that way. But
Well, they know they
they're
have to
forced to.
adapt. They have
They're
to.
being forced to. So they
Yeah,
gotta.
they have to adapt. It's like when all the studios went into streaming. You
Yeah,
know, a lot of studios didn't end up dying, but they got bought. You know, they had to like sell.
yeah.
Like I mean, Fox had to sell itself essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't want to get blockbustered, basically.
That's the
they,
best way
they,
to put it. Yeah,
they,
they don't
they,
want to get blockbustered.
yeah. So that's, and that's why they're doing it, and hopefully Cross our fingers. It ends up being a great service, and that we all subscribe to. Hopefully, if you can afford it, you can subscribe to both, right? Like you can have Game
Yeah.
Pass and you can have PS Plus, and you get the best of both worlds. It's just right now I'm just a little hearing what what the reports are saying. I'm like, okay, you're getting there, but you're not quite there yet. Like you're,
I
go
here's
all
where the
in.
tiers-
Basically, that's my advice.
Yeah.
Go all in. If you're gonna do it, just do it.
Here's the problem with their tier system as well, though. For us, specifically for us, we would have to get the third tier just to get the PC access. You know what I mean? Which I think is dumb. Like Xbox is smart. They're like, okay, you can get Xbox Ultimate, which is both support for PC and
Xbox.
console and EA Play. You know what I mean? But yeah, sorry, my brain just like went
But
blank there.
basically, what you're saying is
The point-
there's no
yeah,
$5 PS Plus for PC.
Exactly. It's going to be the $15 or $20 whatever tier 3 is going to cost. Like that's kind of dumb. And I think that they're going to lose money from that. Or like, well, not like they're not lose money, but that's money sitting around that they could be collecting. So many people, like there's going to be a lot of people on PC that would rather like pay just to have that experience rather than paying for PS Plus and all that other stuff. Like just the baseline of PS Plus, the first tier is absolutely useless to somebody who's using their PC only. You know what I mean? And like actually the first two tiers are completely useless, if you're on PC. So hopefully they're smart and they realize that they can do like a different price point just for the streaming on PC or something, because you don't get any of the other benefits. But yeah, I want to see what their price point is. I think I think when they do this, it'll be okay. But like, yeah, they got so much work to do to try to even catch up to Game Pass.
Yeah, the whole point too is like it's not only just the subscribers. They're seeing people buying Xboxes as a Game Pass machine, and people are not buying PlayStations as a PS Plus / PS Now machine, right? They're only buying for their exclusives. So Game Pass is selling their consoles and these subscriptions and whatnot. So
I mean, I think there was a huge boost in the Series
S.
Yeah, that was a huge boost in the Series S because people realized it's perfect for Game Pass.
It's the best deal. I know a lot of people who bought it just so they could be like, oh, I'm just going to get Game Pass and I have an S, and it's super cheap compared to the other two systems. Why not?
And it's got more availability as well.
Yeah, more availability, and if you're not a stickler for having the best graphics, if you don't have to have the 60 FPS 4K, if you
which
can
a lot of people don't have a 4K TV, so it's perfect for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have a 4K TV.
Exactly. The closest thing I have is I got my 2K monitor, which has been amazing. But yeah, even then, it's. I don't think I'm gonna have a 4K TV for a long time.
Yeah, I was just at Costco today and I saw some and I wanted to get some, and it's like, what's holding me back is that I just don't use my TV as much as I used to. I'm always on my computer, so.
It's also like with streaming, with Netflix, you're not getting 4K quality, even if you have really fast internet. Their
Yeah, they
compression,
say it's 4K, but
it's not. You can tell, like it looks good, like it looks good, like it's full HD. Yeah. But there's at no point are you getting 2K or 4K.
No.
The only place
because
where you're getting 2K,
you know how you can tell? Put in if you have a Blu-ray player still, put in a Blu-ray, which is 1080p, and compare that image quality to the 4K you're getting on Netflix. The Blu-ray still looks better. So
and also because of the darkness, you can tell just from whenever they fade to black, and you can see all the pixelated mess. You know what I mean? Because of the compression software. Yeah. It was so disappointing. But So there's not really that much of a need for 4K. Now that I have it like a 2K screen, Dennis, I've noticed the only place where I can actually get that quality is YouTube. Like that's the only place that I can get actual 2K or 4K quality. Other than that, there's no point. I mean, I can get it with some of my games, not all of my games, because you really need a beastly computer to be running like games at good graphics at like 4K or even 2K.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even run like when I run 4K videos, they start to slow. I'm not
Yeah.
getting like the proper frame rate on them, so I can't imagine.
Surprisingly enough, our system, which is very similar, can run Forza on high graphics on 2K,
Yeah,
which is
it
and it
looks
runs pretty
amazing.
good. It looks like, yeah, it looks amazing. I was playing it on 2K the other day.
I'm trying to think. That may be the best looking game I've ever played. I'm trying to think of
Well,
anything.
like we said a while ago when we reviewed it. It looks really good. It looks unrealistically good. You know, like
Yeah.
it looks so real that it's unrealistic.
Uh,
But I like that. Like I like that. It makes the game like always look shiny and new and sharp. Anyways, but going back to the Game Pass issue. Well, it's yeah. So they're calling it Project Scarlet, but like you said, it's just gonna be PS Plus,
Spartacus.
and then
Spartacus.
yeah, Spartacus. Sorry, Spartacus, and then they're
Scarlet
gonna
was
be.
the Xbox.
That's wow, my brain's all over the place. But it's gonna be PS Plus, and it's probably gonna be something like PS Plus 1 and 2 and 3 or something. You know what I mean? Hopefully, it's not something dumb like PS Plus Plus. I would hate that.
Nah. I think they're just gonna do a rebranding and get some of the a bigger marketing push. Maybe Hopefully,
that's
maybe
half the reason they're doing this. I think rebrand.
Hopefully, they will announce some sort of like, okay, we're not going to be day one, but it'll be like 3 months later. Like, okay, God of War won't be on it on day one, but you'll get it 3 months later, or something 6 months later,
or at least give us like a 7-day access, like a 7-day early access to.
People just
like
play
if they
the
could give
shit out of that though.
if
They'll
they
just,
could like give us that where it's like give us 7-day early access to games where we can like I mean on the console, not for the streaming stuff, like to download the game 7 days early, play it, and then take it away from them so they got to pay for it. It's a horrible thing to do, but even that's better than nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people will just burn through the game then.
Yeah,
If I
true.
know
they'll just burn
if
through
I
the game
only
in
know
7
I have
days.
7 days with like say God of War Ragnarok, I'll just play it until I finish it, and then
Very true, yeah. But once again, that proves my point. They need to have games with longevity. They need like multiplayer games, which is unfortunate because Sony's main focus is single player narrative games, which I love.
which is
but
right up my alley.
It doesn't work for a subscription service though, you know?
I mean, it works if you constantly have new stuff. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, true.
You have to have the rate of new games on the service needs to.
You know
to
who
be
this
on.
is actually good for, Dennis? Is non-Sony players.
Yeah.
Because I just realized I don't see an appeal in it because I've played almost all the games on that because I've been a Sony fanboy my entire life. So I've played even their like classic PlayStation 1 and 2 games and their PS3 games. I've played all of them before. But now, say for instance someone's been Xbox their whole life.
Yeah.
This would be a great opportunity for them to try it out. Especially because if they still have Edge browser function when they release this, that means that you can still play it on your Xbox. Which to this day you can still do. You can get PS Now on your Xbox Series X through the Edge browser.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is it's basically in the last 2 cycles, I bought an Xbox 360 first, and I bought an Xbox One first, and I bought a PS3 towards the end of the cycle, and a PS4 towards the end of the cycle, and then I just picked up all the best games for very cheap, right? I picked up God of War for $10. I picked Horizon Zero Dawn for $10. I picked up Spider-Man for I think 15. I picked up all the best games for very cheap because it was at the end of the cycle, and in order to stop me from doing that, you've got to do the service that has the stuff that comes out on day one.
Yeah.
So.
That's
anyways.
true.
All right. I think we've talked a lot about it. Hopefully people who have been watching or listening can give us their thoughts. What do you think about this new PlayStation Plus model? Can it compete with Game Pass? Are they doing the right thing?
Is there anything on their library right now that you would want to play? Let us know in the comments. Like I'll be checking on the comments. I want to know if there's anything on their library you guys would currently be drawn to play or actually try out the service. Let me know.
Yeah, my problem is I own everything that I want to play on the PlayStation.
I mean, everything I want to play on there I've already played. That's my problem, you know?
Yeah.
But that's also because I have had the service before, you know?
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch at It's Thespis. I'm sure there'll be a link in the description. Yeah. And you guys can find me right here on the Revog channel and in the Discord.
Yeah. And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Actually, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. Also, we have our podcast that's every week. This is actually going to go on the podcast because this is much longer format for this one news item that we had a discussion, but that's on every week, and we'll have specials like this on there. You can check that on Spotify or anchor.fm. So until next time, we're going to do a podcast, our weekly Revog Games podcast this Friday to talk about the Game Awards, which is coming up this Thursday. We'll discuss the winners, and we'll also discuss all the new game trailers and new announcements that we're most definitely going to see.
Definitely. And don't forget to like.
Yes. Like and
help us out with that algorithm, yeah.
Yeah. And hit that notification button. Apparently that's a big important thing. All right.
Oh, it definitely helps.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, see you guys later.
Later.